Welcome to EnCharge. We are your entrepreneurial host. I am Alfonso Santinello.
Tara Brewster.
Mike Conlon.
Are you sure?
I think so.
All right. And we are your hosts that sometimes have too much coffee.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about a few different things. We have a great guest, local entrepreneur around the area, and we're going to actually talk about how Hurricane Irene or Tropical Storm Irene, whatever, affected entrepreneurs and our region. So that's our in-news segment. I guess we can go right into it, and how it affected. Luckily, it hasn't. I'm from lower area, Western Mass, so it didn't really hit as bad as I know as the northern area. Northampton had a lot of problems, the Shelburne Falls. Those areas were hit heavy, but luckily I wasn't. I just was dealing with my hangover.
Yeah, well. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people in the area have a lot to say about, you know, the weather that we've been having and the systems that we've been having this year. I mean, between the winter and all of the storms from the winter and the tornado and now, you know, the hurricane, tropical storm, I think that this region's been hit pretty bad, unlike other years, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and for us, I think it's important to kind of talk about what that means for local business owners. I mean, I know that, you know, from the winter, everyone, I know I've talked about it, was put in the hole, like, you know, economy-wise. I think the store was closed like 5 days. And then the tornado totally devastated, you know, a ton of towns, residences, businesses. That
even days after the storm, it's still flooding and it's nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, now that this is like the triple threat, you know, it's like the final straw. And I just feel like people are sort of devastated by, you know, not even the economic times, but by like, you know, Mother Nature sort of wreaking havoc. And so I think it's kind of important to talk about because so many people are dealing with, you know, how to, you know, and what do I do?
Especially with insurance. I mean, not many people had coverage.
Yeah.
You know, they would have think it's Western Mass or it's New England, like hurricanes don't come up here.
Yeah.
It has, and you know, you never know when it will happen. That's the thing with Mother Nature. You can't. I mean, luckily we can see a path if it comes, or see, granted, not an earthquake, but other things we can see if it's coming, prepare. But for business aspect, insurance purposes, you always want to be better safe than sorry.
Yeah, and are you gonna put that link up?
Yep, there was an article actually from Entrepreneur Magazine. I'm gonna cheat and use the computer real quick to pull it up.
But there was this great article that we all read about, you know, how business owners make all of these mistakes in filing insurance claims and what to do and what not to do. And, you know, I think that you're gonna post it on.
Yeah, I'll post it on the business channel, Twitter. Follow us, or you know, I'll post it on our show Twitter handle at EnCharge Show. Make sure you follow us there. Ask us questions. We'll try to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really important to kind of figure out like what to do and what not to do in case, you know, something like this happens again. Because I have a feeling that it might not be over yet.
It's at the same time you need to create a protocol on what to do.
Right.
You know, if the storm hits and if it doesn't hit, you know, are you going to stay closed the whole day? If it passes and it doesn't become a big storm, are you going to go back in and open? And how are you going to let your consumers know about it? It's a big ordeal. I know in this area, people were already shut Thursday. They were saying they were closing down for Sunday because of the storm. And a lot of the area luckily, knock on wood, didn't get hit. And people were complaining. I understand why business owners are somewhat complaining that they were closed, but be lucky that it didn't hit the business in itself and cause more damage. Because then, you know, and I kind of want to go over the top 7 things Entrepreneur Magazine said real quick. Number 1, not contacting your insurance company immediately, which I don't understand why you wouldn't. 2, documenting the damage, not keeping damaged goods. Not appealing your insurer's lowball estimate, not reading your policy, counting on FEMA for quick help, and not preparing ahead of time. So, you know, these are very good points that the article makes. We'll post up the link so you guys can read it, but it's very important, you know, and I think the one that struck the most for me is number 6 and 7, not relying on FEMA and preparing for yourself. You know, you don't want to rely on quick money to help you if something does happen. You need to prepare yourself in your business.
And hello, it's the government.
Yeah.
Like, hello, has anyone seen what happened with Katrina? Like, I think those, the people in New Orleans, most of them probably still haven't received money.
I'm actually kind of happy that I kind of missed that whole area just because of what they went through already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's a part of being an entrepreneur too. You have to be ready to deal with the curveballs. I mean, you're not made when things are going well. It's when things are going wrong and chaotic, and that's when true entrepreneurs shine. I mean, because if it was all smooth sailing, you would have a higher percentage of people being successful entrepreneurs. But
not like us three.
No. What that made me think of though, when how we're not used to this type of stuff. But you got people in Florida that used to it, and you got people on the West Coast that's used to the earthquakes and stuff. And this is why networking comes in handy. It's not all about making connections for your business, but also for your business mind. So you talk to someone in Florida. So how do you prepare for a hurricane? Or you talk to someone in California. How you prepare for an earthquake? And this stuff is second nature to them, so they'll be able to share their resources with us. And that's what you have. That's the part of networking that really would really benefit you and your business.
Mm-hmm. And a quick point, I want to go back to how if you do close down and nothing actually happens and you do decide, example, you're a restaurant and you close down for the day, but you see by 3 o'clock that nothing's happening and the weather's saying, and the news weathermen, they're wrong, like normal, then, you want to decide you want to go open because you close for lunch doesn't mean you're not going to get a dinner rush. It's one of those things like, how are you going to get out to the consumers? A couple of my clients, and including my father's restaurant, they close down for lunch, minus my father's restaurant because he doesn't close for anything, and then open. They were just getting the word out, so they posted like, we're gonna be closing, pay attention, we'll let you know if we do open, so in that way we are one of the few restaurants that are open for food, because a lot of things were shut down. And you go to the store, the grocery stores are all out of everything because people were stocking up thinking of the storm of the century or the 100-year, however long. Last time was like the 1930s we got a hurricane. So, it's one of those things like you just need to let your consumers know and keep that open communication of what's going on when you prepare for a storm and what's going to happen after the storm.
And that's one of the beauties of social media, because you're able to have that conversation in real time. You don't have to.
You don't have to call every single person. Exactly. Hey, we're open.
or run an emergency ad on TV or radio. Yeah. You could have that dialogue with your customers, and you could actually turn that'll be turning a negative situation into a positive, because now
that's what we do with my father's.
Yeah,
we wrote down for the dinner rush. We wrote down our delivery drivers are hurricane proof. So if they wanted to wanted pizza delivered, right, they would just call us or call them. I don't work there, but
this time we have an addition with us for our interview session. This is Kate Glynn, a really good friend of mine and local business owner out of Northampton. She owns 2 stores. One is a Child's Garden on Crafts Avenue near City Hall off of Main Street. And the other one is next to us in Thorns on the 2nd floor called Impish. Kate's great because she is also involved in a lot of boards and community activities, including the BID and the Handmade Toy Alliance out of DC. So she does a lot and seems to always be on top of things and community oriented. And so we're here to interview Kate Glynn today.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So for the viewers and for you, we each try to ask you one question, even though Tara likes to ask 50.
I can't help it. I'm like, so if you could just roll this all into one, that'd be great. Just curious. Yeah.
She's an eager learner.
Like a sponge.
So who wants to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So what pushed you to become an entrepreneur?
I have no idea. The story goes that I have always said that owning a children's bookstore is something that I wanted to do. It was on the list with have a skylight over my closet bathtub, live by a big body of water, and own a children's bookstore. But I imagined that was going to be about 40 years from now. My background is in child and family studies, so education, working with at-risk preschoolers and their families. And I was a senior at Smith, and I got a job because I'm better when I'm busier. So yeah, exactly. I don't know what to do.
Right, you get into less trouble that way.
It's true.
Yeah. It's less very free time is usually a good thing for us.
And so I was working for my predecessor at Child's Garden, and I I loved it. It was a happy place to come to work. I got to help parents figure out what they wanted, how they wanted to be in the world with their children. I got to match children and gifts so that it was, that people felt good about giving the right kind of gift.
Mm-hmm.
I believed in the philosophy of the store. It's a wooden store. We have children's books. We don't do lights and plastic and lighting up and screens, and it's very classic. And my predecessor wanted to sell, and I was there, and it was simply the right thing to do at the right moment. It really was. The stars aligned, and when the universe hands you an amazing opportunity, you best sit up and pay attention. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, I'm doing my retirement career before my actual career. We'll see where it leads me. But it's been 5 years now, and I've learned an immense amount. But so the answer is I literally fell into it. As much as one can fall into owning a store and then another store and getting involved with boards and the community, I did.
No, I like that because it almost, what I like about your answer is you were prepared for the moment, it seemed like. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, they miss their entrepreneurial calling because they're so busy asking what ifs and this, that, and next, and sometimes you just have to jump in.
Right. But I was gonna say, I had no idea what I was doing. My background is not in business. I don't know bookkeeping. I don't, marketing. I've had to learn all of this as I go. So it really is just being open to the moment. And when the universe says, like, you should do this now, and the business opportunity was too great to pass up as well. I had some financial people look over it and they're like, yeah, if you ever want to do this,
now's the time.
Now's the time.
So that leads me into my question, which is, in your time, and you said 5 years being an entrepreneur, if you could have one mistake back, what would that be?
Well, I don't like to dwell in regret. I like to look forward, and because there's not much you can do about the past. That being said, I think I would, and it's so hard to say because what I would say that I would change would drastically change my life, and I like my life right now, so I don't know what that would be. The way I would change it is I don't think I would open my second business as a separate entity. I think I opened my second business, which is EnCharge, in October of 2008. And if you guys remember what was happening in October 2008, things weren't so great on the financial world, in the world. So, but as you guys know, by the time you're so far into build out and buying and planning and the money's been spent, you're just like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. And I don't ever regret opening it. But now knowing what the economic landscape was going to be like for the next couple of years, I would combine the businesses. I would find a way to make it work so that both businesses would be in one space. But that being said, both stores are very different, and they cater to different clientele. So that would be an entirely different challenge. 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Yeah.
But that's I think what I would do differently is I would just combine them rather than have two separate entities.
Well, we miss you on the second floor, so I'm like, oh. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
But again, like that's not what happened, and I've learned a huge amount from taking over a business and editing it and learning and working with an existing clientele and creating it, making it mine and then creating it from scratch. It's two very different things, and I've learned a huge amount doing both. So, I am on Thorns now. I am next to you. We do have the magic portal going through our office. So.
Yeah, we always talk about how we need to create this because they're
put a can and put a string.
Either that or make a secret door, that is behind a cabinet that we can move the cabinet and just go into. Yeah.
You know what I like about that though? I because people don't understand what it really means to be an entrepreneur, but you just kind of embodied that, and how you go with it, and like you said, you don't even live with regrets, and that's just what it is. We just make decisions and we own them, and we live with them, and we make it happen. And I really appreciate that. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Last question, Tara?
Last question. I'll try to only make it one question.
You have time for only one.
So my question to you, Kate, I think it was kind of hard to know you so well and to come up with a question, but I guess what I think people out there would want to know is sort of what, all of those people out there. Clap, clap, applause.
I'll throw in some side effects.
I guess would be, what's the greatest lesson, your pearl of wisdom that you've learned from your years in business, and, maybe what would you tell other business owners or convey to them about opening or being entrepreneurial, or sort of that questions?
That I have two answers for that. I have the piece of advice that I give new business owners, because everybody gives so much advice, and I remember being told so much advice. I'm like, you don't know what's going on in my business, like you have no idea. But the one piece of advice that I give to new people starting out is take time off. You need to build in time off for yourself, and you need to build in a payment structure for yourself early. Whether you want it or not, start paying yourself $5 a day from day one and get in the habit of it, because I didn't, and it's so much harder to be, I'm like, no, but I want it in the business, it'll grow it, it'll be fine, and pay yourself. And that's hard to value yourself in that way, or at least that was for me, so.
That's a challenge.
But the piece that I have learned in business is, and that I embody every day, is I would rather educate my customers out the door knowing that they'll come back, or hoping that they'll come back. So it's not just the product that I sell, it's explaining how to use it. It's telling the story behind the toy. It's making sure that you understand how long you can really use this car seat, how long your child can really fit into it. Or the story of the toy maker that's in Pennsylvania with, that made this, or that, how to use the wrap or the sling. I'd rather educate you out. Like, if you have something you can use and you have something that is still of value, I would rather not make a sale on it. And maybe that makes me a bad retailer or bad entrepreneur. It's a different, bottom line decision, but I'd rather do that in the hopes that people come back. And they do. And I feel better about that just inside. I'm not one to go make a sale. Like, I'm not a salesy person. Spill coffee. Sorry.
Okay, so what are your websites if they want to get more information?
So my website for A Child's Garden is achildsgardennoho.com, and Impish is shop-impish.com.
Great. And we'll have those links up, and we'll throw it up on the sites and everything. Okay, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back to one of our famous closings. Yeah. Well, not really famous, we're only on episode 3.
Infamous.
Yes. Soon to be famous. Alright, so the urinary organs. It's really like...
Who would open to that?
So this is a great business book. It's called Grey's Anatomy. You guys need to check it out. Thanks for watching another great episode. We want to thank Kate for coming on, and we want to thank Irene for giving us a topic. I guess, I don't know, anything else?
Take that, Irene.
Yeah, what now? Make sure to tune in, tweet at us at EnCharge Show, like the business channel on Facebook at Business Channel, and
keep watching.
Yeah. No, let's jump up from 3 viewers to like 5 next week.
All right, 5 viewers.
Yeah. Read this book. I like it, but it's all up backwards. So yeah, this is a great book.
We're gonna get Mike reading lessons, so we'll see you guys next week.
In classes.
Yeah.